A story is told of a psychologist who was doing an experiment about human conditioning. He got a dog and tied it on a pole uh, and left it there for 3 days without food. After 3 days, it was obvious that the dog was very hungry, and he brought the food and placed it 1 meter away from the dog, that the dog could stretch itself and it could not reach it. The dog tried so hard. It jumped and stretched towards the food to nourish itself and relieve itself from the hunger, but it could not. It tried repetitively. It jumped, it limped, it stretched, it dashed to get to the food, but it could not. However, unfortunately, the more it tried, the more the chain began to wear out its neck. The more the chain began to penetrate its flesh and enter, causing the blood to start coming out. And as it continued to try, the pain increased more, almost attempting to kill it. So when the dog realized it, he just stood in one position and decided to give up on the food, and he just decided to stay there. And after some time, the psychologist came back and untied the dog and left it. And it realized that it was untied, but it could not make any single movement towards the food. It just stood there in one position. And eventually, after some more days, the dog died from hunger with just one step away from the food. And its story ended like that. This story also mirrors our human society and the lives in which we live. I suppose that if this dog gave birth to puppies in such a situation, it would train them never to go beyond the length of the chain, lest they suffer pain and die. So this is how the pain and experiences of a parent also become the responsibility of the children through parenting and transfer and generational transfer. So you might find a family of puppies, a family of dogs across the different generations, living at a certain area of life, living at in a certain lifestyle that keeps them at a certain level. And this is also the same story in our human lives, that you might find a certain family living at a certain level, in a certain lifestyle, in a certain behaviors, with a certain disciplines that keep them at a certain level, keeping them in the entrapments of poverty across different generations. Because the chain shifted from being physical to now spiritual. The overwhelming and the psychological implications of the chain from our parenting styles. All of a sudden also start abusing and misguiding and miseducating our children through different ways. We abuse potential and transfer our past failures and use them as a reference for our children to determine their potential and their destinies. And the fatigue of our trying without achieving also becomes the fundamental principle and the reason which our children use to determine how much they can do in their lives. So that's how we keep on transferring traumas across different generations. And these form the values, the principles, the customs, and the social norms of a society. Even the young children who are born, they never take the burden of questioning the beliefs of their families, the social norms, what they value. We live in such a situation of social captivity, where we have accepted the social norms and customs of our society, the principles and its values, without questioning. We have subconsciously and unconsciously subscribed and accepted the values and the social norms of our society without questioning. And we also accept that going beyond the length of the chain would cause death, yet we never take the burden of trying to see whether it is true that if we try, we would die. The truth is that the chain is not there, is no longer there. But the mindset, the brains, the mind has been trapped in the history of a chain in the history of that chain. And it is determining the future of not only one generation, but also all generations. So it is no longer a problem or a question of the chain being of the physical chain. It is now a spiritual question that needs to be answered. In the midst of resources, in the midst of abundance of opportunities, we keep on falling to the same trap, to the same prison. We continue living in the same prison and entrapment of poverty, with just one step away from, with just 1 meter away from the solutions that could relieve us from the bondage of poverty that has haunted us for generations and generations. And now families form up society that if certain family behaves in a certain way, and in our society, like here in Africa and Uganda, this has been our story also. In the midst of good fertile soils, in the midst of good climate, in the midst of oil and gas, in the midst of a lot of minerals, we continue to suffer from poverty, yet we are sitting on the bedrock of minerals and resources that can change our story and make us great and great and greater. In the midst of business opportunities, in terms of problems, we just continue lamenting and talking about them because our society and in our culture have not been trained to take responsibility over them. We have been trained that it should be someone else that has to come and solve our problems, while for us we just come and fit within whatever they have established as employees. And this is something that has been living on since the past 200 years, when our ancestors and our fathers were trained to just live as workers on European plantations and companies. And it has been the same norm and the norm for the past 200 years. In the midst of resources, we never take the burden of going beyond the length of the chain. Why? Because it shifted from being a physical chain, from being a physical prison to now a psychological and mental prison. And until we take the burden of removing this prison from ourselves, we can never lift up ourselves. We must first make sure that we gain spiritual healing. And on top of that, we need a good education system. We need to have a lot of disciplines, consistency, good leadership, and very many other things. So until we take up this burden, we can never have any transformation. And in healing, we need to first of all have a meeting with our Creator to define for us how much we are worth, to define for us how much ability and potential that we have, to define for us how much we can go, not on the basis of how much the chain dictated to us, of how much history is dictating to us, but on the basis of what the Creator is saying. We need to meet our Creator to tell us the assignment and the purpose for us, why He created us, and what kind of plans is He having for us to enable us to reach there, not just creating us and leaving us there and throwing us into this world without any plan. So we need to meet our Creator. And as far as I've engaged with Him, He created us in His own image and His likeness, since He was the Creator who fashioned the universe and placed the sun and everything there. He also called us into this and gave us His image. So we also possess His characteristics, we also possess His behaviors, we also possess His abilities, we also possess His supernatural powers and abilities that any other creature in this universe doesn't have. And this is a privilege, this is a behavior, this is a trait that is inherent within all human beings, irrespective of their color, irrespective of their socioeconomic backgrounds, irrespective of where they're coming from, irrespective of what all of us possess. And we are all shareholders, we are all partakers of the image of God. There should be none that should tell us that we are, for you are identified as this. So if we attach ourselves to our Creator and identify ourselves with Him, this is enough truth that can somehow heal our hearts. That even though I was born in poor families, that even though this is how much we are not, so we know that we are now our Creator's products. Attaching ourselves to our Creator also gives us a higher self-esteem. It enables us to define ourselves and to treat ourselves with a high sense of worth. And this enables us to become bold in dreaming, to become bold in wishes, to become bold in planning. Because we know that we are sons and daughters of the Most High, who is the owner of this universe and everything that sits in it. And whatever that we wish for, He will be able to give to us because He is the owner. We therefore have a reason to take that bold step and a bold move to use everything, to take the responsibility and charge over our problems. We have the responsibility now to define our lives on the basis of what and how our Creator thinks of us, not on the basis of how other people think of us. And until we now relate ourselves with our Creator, we can never change the history of our lives. Number three, attaching ourselves to our Creator enables us to have a sense of humanity, because the Creator gave us potential and resources as tools to enable us to fulfill a certain purpose and assignment that would bring development and innovation into our society and the lives of the people with whom we live. And in that way, we all have this divine duty as agents of change, as ambassadors of prosperity into this universe. Attaching ourselves to our Creator, or God, sent us in this universe. We all know that heaven is a government, and it being a government, it has a special plan of enabling we, its citizens, who have been sent on diplomatic duties into this universe to solve earthly problems with a heavenly purpose for the sake of giving glory to our Heavenly Father and the entire kingdom. And in such a situation, the heavens are entitled to catering for our social needs in terms of health. The heavens are entitled to cater for our health needs, our educational needs, our security needs, our nutritional needs, and everything. So we are living under the charge, under the protection of the heavenly government, because we are living in this universe on diplomatic errands as its ambassadors, because it has to take care of us as long as we are living and working and executing its diplomatic errands as ambassadors who have been sent in this universe as its behalf. And all of this is self-esteem. All of this is goodness. All of this is new truth and new information that we need to know to change how we think about ourselves, to change how we treat ourselves, how we take ourselves, and how much we think we are worth, how much we think we can go, how much we think that we can do. This is a new profile about our lives. When we attach ourselves to our Creator, we get the opportunity to understand, and our minds, our attitudes to be reorganized to the default settings which the Creator intended us to function with for the sake of reaching our true original potential and fulfill the assignment to which He gave us. And in that way, we can be able to spur innovation, to spur industrial creation, to spur business ideas, to spur those dreams that we once thought they don't matter. Those dreams that we thought that we are condemned from never dreaming, because we thought that if we dare go beyond that, if we dare dream beyond the limits of that, beyond the length of the chain, we would suffer pain and die. So we never take that burden of dreaming. But if we attach ourselves to our Creator, this is a new spiritual transformation to erase the spiritual wounds. And on top of that, if we establish a good education system, we will establish industrial vocational education systems and very many other things with good leadership, with the discipline, with consistency, with the character, with the integrity, and very many other disciplines, we can be able to go very far and transform the history and the realities of our nation and our community.